Hello. Now in this lesson, we want to turn your attention to this blank here, this rectangular region right here. This is called the formula bar in Excel, and it's something that you're going to use all the time. So we need to have a little bit of a discussion about it. Basically, the formula bar reflects what is in the cell that you've highlighted. So if I go and click sales here, now you notice I've got an orange background and white text, so it's kind of a formatted, pretty looking cell. The formula bar tells me the value of the text that's in there, so it says sales. Right? If I click on January, I can see January. If I click on February, and I see February. So when you look in the formula bar up here, it doesn't show you the formatting. It doesn't care about highlighting or italics or bold. It's just the value of what's in the cell. Now, if I click on the number, notice I have a lot of formatting here. I have a dollar sign. I have 5,206 decimal 00. So I've got a nicely formatted currency figure. But in the formula bar, it's just a number, 5206. So you can kind of think of the formula bar as sort of like the raw deal. It's what is in the cell, but it's really with no bells and whistles. It's either a number or it's text, right? And that's what's up there. So if I go and click, 1.234, then 1.254, that's what's going to be up there. So it'll put decimals up there. It'll put numbers up there, and it'll put text up there. I can put my name here. Notice as I'm typing, I can see it in the formula bar. Now, when I want to edit cells, which is what I'm going to work on a little bit later as well, I can actually click on the formula bar, and I can change that to Gibson, Jason Gibson, right? And I decided, well, I don't really want to do that, so I can take my last name off. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you can edit the cell from within the cell. You can also edit the cell from the formula bar. So the formula bar is nice because it is, I'm going to hit delete here to take those away. It shows you what you have. Now, the reason they call it the formula bar is because it shows you the value of the cell, whether it's text or numbers, but it also shows you the value of any formulas that you have in the page. And that's really the power of Excel, is to do mathematical computations, right? So let's say here's my sales data from January through August. Now I'm going to create another column. I'm going to do total revenue, or I'm just going to call it total like that. All right, and then underneath this guy, I've got a blank spot. I want to sum up all this stuff. Now I could type in all these numbers and add them up, but why do that? Let's let Excel do it for us. So there is a function that's extremely common. It's called sum. This little symbol, this little E, sigma, it's called a sum. Now when I click it, Excel is smart enough to kind of figure out that the only numbers that I'm likely to want to be adding up in this row are the ones that are highlighted. Now I can change that. I can alter it to make Excel want to sum up, like let's say I want to only sum up April through August. I can change it to do that, and I'll get to that in future lessons. But for now, this is exactly what I want. So after I clicked it, it did this automatically. Now I'm going to press the Enter key to accept that. Notice that it shows me that the total value is $27,693. So I didn't have to type anything in. It's adding up the value of these cells. Now, when I click on one of these months here, the formula bar just shows me the value of the number because it's a number in that blank. But this guy, even though it's displaying a number, it's really a formula that's doing the work behind the scenes. Simple formula for adding numbers. So when I click it, in the formula bar, it doesn't tell me 27,693 because the formula bar is always going to tell me the formula that's in that cell if there is a formula in the cell. So it's telling me the equal sign here just means it's a formula that's forthcoming. The sum means it's adding stuff up. And in parentheses, it's adding up B3, that's cell B3, all the way to J3. And if you remember, that was what it highlighted, J3, so J3 here. So it's adding all these numbers up, plus it's adding a blank cell up, which doesn't really affect anything. So whenever I click on numbers that I've entered, I'm going to see the value of the number there. If I click on cells that are computations based on Excel doing the math itself, then Excel's always going to show me the formula. Let's say, for instance, that this was wrong and I really didn't want to add all of these things up. I can alter that. I can double click it, and now I can see, that I can make a change. So in fact, you can see this whole thing here. What if I didn't want to include this blank cell? It really doesn't much matter. but I can go over here. I can make a change. Let me move my mouse pointer right here, and then I will see that it changes to that little arrow right there. I can click, I can drag this here and say, okay, that looks a lot better. Of course, I can hit enter. It doesn't change anything because, you know, I'm adding the same thing up. But what if for whatever reason I want to change this to add up only the months May through August? Then I can hit enter, and now the sum is going to show that. Now, when I click it, it's telling me now the sum is F3 up through I3. And you can always double click it if you want to know graphically what it is. So the bottom line is the formula bar is showing you the value of formulas that are in any cells. So even though there's a number printed there, there's really a formula behind the scenes.